Hi, Leo men. So, this is the Alchemy of Relating spread for Leo guys for 2017 February. And this Alchemy of Relating spread is just meant to help you gain insight into the influences of the relationship. So, for all you sensitive Leo guys out there, I'm going to start you off right now with your first card, which is gonna give you an idea of the ground of your relationship. It's the grounding of the relationship or the foundation. And this card is meant to reveal where you are at present. And the next card will be where your partner is at present. And it's meant to tell you what the strength is of the relationship as well as the weakness. So for you, the card is following, which is hexagram 17. And following is all about just what it says, following. There is an art to leading and there is an art to following. And without one, you can't have the other one. Without followers, there would be no leader to lead, and vice versa. Without leaders to look up to as teachers, followers would be without their role models. The best teachers are selflessly devoted not to what is being taught, but to their students. And their task is to create understanding. The problem that can arise is the synchronicity between the leader and the follower is rare. Sometimes we see leaders exploiting people, and sometimes followers following because they just don't want to take responsibility for their own lives. Manipulating people in order to force compliance can create mistrust. On the other side, sometimes we need to look at stretch beyond to discover our full potential, and finding a good role model can give us the courage we need to make that step. So this card is saying to be absolutely honest and to sincerely scrutinize yourself in finding and being a follower, but also looking to hear your inner voice of sincere inner guidance. So the best way to know if you are following your own truth is to check out and see whether what you are doing provides a deep sense of meaning and purpose to life, however challenged you might be feeling. Okay? So the card that was chosen for the partner in the second position, again, is the factors or foundation, and we get 42, which is a beautiful card and a beautiful hexagram as well, signifying increase. So for this partner here, perhaps the foundation in the relationship is that it increases everything good and true in their life. It increases nourishing and uplifting for themselves and others. The foundation of the relationship might also be a golden opportunity and just helps life feel more abundant. However, generosity today is something that we don't hear of very often, and random acts of kindness are not something that we read about every day in the papers. But when we do hear about someone acting generously, we are moved. So obviously the partner is very much affected by the generosity in this relationship. Leos are known for being very generous. And it's also important to realize how we ourselves can be generous in life just by witnessing how nature is generous. So if we want to increase our levels of generosity and we don't know how, we can take a walk in nature and look at how nature can give us flowers to look at and waterfalls, and those are for everybody, whether they deserve them or not. So every human reaps the rewards of that abundance when we function from a willingness to share. By following in nature's footsteps, this card can say that we can understand compassion and that we can also inspire others to be the best that they can be. Okay, so let's go to the third and fourth cards. These cards depict the emotional climate. They focus on the dynamic that supports harmony within each of you and on the challenges that each partner faces in assuming greater responsibility to clear up discord or unblock communication. These cards are in the heart position and as such can uncover areas of vulnerability and lack of trust. They can also shed light on emotional wounds and on the hidden fears and habits that we've developed. So we have 28, which is excess for you Leo males this month. So maybe excess here is the emotional climate. And it can also be something that is getting in the way of the harmony. So you need to look and see if there is an overload of too much of a good thing or the exhaustion that comes from too much doing. So whether the pressure is coming from outside or from within, excess is not good for the heart. It's the moment to start eliminating the stresses of this excess and to really open up to discovering how it got there in the first place. So this card is saying we need to look at our own limitations, and it can be difficult to look at the reality, but if you continue just smiling through it, eventually the situation will definitely need to be changed. Stress can be manifested in many ways. It can be in the drive for more, and whatever that more it might be, it can suddenly come to become very apparent that there is a no-win pursuit. It's not something that you can win here. So we need to come back in touch with the real needs of the natural self, is what this card is calling for, and to put a check on the desire for those typical things that come into play with excess. So first things that come to mind are financial or carnal or power or, prestige. And those come at the cost to the body and the soul. So relieving stress is the best way to come back to yourself, and remembering that there's nothing good about obsessiveness will lead you back to your simple and most natural needs. Rather than reaching the breaking point. The key to learning the lessons that lie within a situation of excess is to acknowledge yourself in the mirror and being honest. There's no need to confess or to blame or to assign responsibility and shame another. And not trying to save face actually will assist in this fake wall and allow the real to come forth. So what you can expect when you do this is a more energy efficient life, and you're going to be more in touch with your natural rhythm. You can call it meditation, but it's time to take time and be alone and reflect on what your real intentions are as a partner and as a co-worker and as a human being. And just try to take out the robotic nature from life and try to focus on your truth and living in accord with nature. And therefore, by aligning ourselves with truth, we can diminish stress in an incremental way, and that will help everybody. So the card for partner in this situation is going to be, let's see, the turning point. Hexagram 24. So partners of Leo males this month would be well advised to remember that nature moves in a continuously unfolding cycle, and there's nothing, it never stops. So remembering that cyclical also exists within you, and remembering that you as well hold the fragile first buds underneath that layer of snow, that is the change from winter to spring, is going to help you not be blinded to the fact that the perfection of nature exists within you, and also not to be impatient. So this card is calling for you to honor timing and to not be impatient ever with your partner, because everything goes with the ebbs and flow of nature. So no time of darkness will last forever, and even if it seems like forever, the crisis seems like to be at a standstill, and everything that you are efforting to do to change circumstances doesn't work. That's exactly what is needed for the change to come. So once that turning point, and there's so many in this, there will be an increased movement and vitality and the loosening up, and this process will allow you to use energy that's been stored. So advice that's coming from this card is to slow down and to rest and to allow full recuperation to take place, and to remember that if you have an idea that you're just going to bounce back, it's actually a misunderstanding of what's really needed. Just remember that what is frozen is going to melt away, and this is not going to be happening any faster with your interference. So your strength is going to increase naturally, and you're going to become a little bit happier about all the situation. And really what is needed is relaxation and trust, and that everything is moving just as it should. So just taking care of yourself and the basics in life is going to be the best thing you can do for a major transition that's about to take place. So the 5th and 6th cards that are coming up focus on the state of mind, on the perceptions, the longings, and the hopes and fears of each partner, and your attitude towards those hopes and fears. This position is going to be a catalyst for breakthrough in your thinking, and it can help you acquire a new perspective to approach the relationship more openly and without being defensive. So being open to receiving this advice is going to help your connection be viewed through fresh eyes. So here we have 34, which is great power. What a wonderful card to get. Greatness is expansive and has the power to positively or negatively affect all that is touched by it. In our solar system, it is the sun. In our bodies, it is the gut or lower belly that in Japanese martial arts is known as the hara. So it is a reservoir of power. It has the ability to influence others on a grand scale, and the effect of that grand scale depends on the person's character, their center, and their willingness to be responsible for it. So unless these qualities are rooted in being, there could be a tendency for power to become distorted, and it can come across as belligerence or dogmatism or egoism. And we see this in the world every day. But just because a person is in a powerful position doesn't mean that he or she is great. I'm not going to get political here, but there is one person that's coming to mind. To become worthy of admiration or reverence requires passing through many tests of character that may not be obvious from the outside. Your self-respect, character, and dignity are being put through an endurance test. It can mean there might be some intense grappling with inner demons like greed and pride, and you might have to make the hard choices. So this card is saying, do not be tempted by flattery or seduction that has a price tag, as you could regret it down the line. It is wise to avoid any extremes, especially if you are in a powerful position, and knowing you, Leo, you probably are. So it's asking for balance before you reach your conclusions, because they will have an effect on others, and that effect can't be ignored or taken lightly. So the higher your profile, the more likely you're going to get envy and discontent. And it just goes with the territory, as they say. So you're going to have a sense of decorum and self-restraint, being the center of attention, and that's not always easy, as you know. But you don't have to compromise yourself or get back at people in a small or petty way because of negativity. So you have so much to offer, and that's gonna stay the same. So you just need to focus on your course. So the last card here we have for the partner of Leo is opposition. Hexagram 38. Opposition can be a profound learning experience when it leads to the understanding that differences don't have to create breakdowns. We commonly define sadness as opposite to joy, dark in opposition to life, death against life. But from a broader perspective, these are qualities that exist on the same coin. They're dual aspects of wholeness. So this card is saying that while there might be a difference in opinion, we can bring ourselves back to the center and not get carried away by being defensive, because if we do and we can remain cool-headed and not defensive, we will start to understand other person's point of view and not get exhausted in the process. So it's warning not to cut off people because they're different or you don't agree with an opinion, because you immediately shut off the door of cooperation. So it's just saying take account of everyone's perspective this month, Leo male partner, and it's gonna make things a heck of a lot easier. Once you label somebody as impossible or different, or you're cheating yourself, and not including something that's difficult is not a solution. The best way to overcome this is actually to find a neutral ground and focus on that. And the more you focus on the neutral ground, the easier it will be to find benefit. So even if it seems absolutely like you cannot stand a situation and somebody else's other side of the perspective seems absolutely completely intolerable, remember that if you want to accomplish harmony, you're gonna always come across some difficulty in communication, and that by finding the neutral ground, you're going to deepen and strengthen the bond between the two of you. So not taking your opinions too seriously, having a little bit of a sense of humor about it is going to go a long way in decreasing the heaviness and letting go of skepticism. Okay, so a final card here is known as the insight card, and I want everyone to just really think about getting the right card for the situation, because once it's pulled, it's pulled. And here we go. We got grace for you. grace, the hexagram of grace is really saying that that's what can come, that's what's going to be the result if you both look at all the cards before and just analyze them and take their advice to heart and even try to put one or two of the things that they recommend in practice. So grace is all about how the world has always revered the exceptionally gifted or beautiful. And we call those people stars today. But it's reminding us, what is it to be a true star, or to be a true star relationship. We all revere celebrity and fame, but we don't know the individual qualities of the person. And really it's saying that being a star is to feel at home with yourself and in the world. So everyone and every relationship has a potential for stardom, regardless of physical appearance or social standing or your abilities or the whims of fashion. So real beauty and the grace that surrounds it is never contrived. It comes from within, and it's like the lotus blossom that comes from the muddiest waters. The best thing we can do to find that grace is to transform dark and difficult into light and fragrant, and ultimately the flower of consciousness. Beauty and perception can manifest in many ways. For a scientist, it can be clarity of finding and discovering the mystery. For a painter, it could be showing the light, and many other ways. So our expression of our own creativity can create the grace that we need. So also remembering that beauty is also impermanent. Beauty is born and fades and returns again to beget beauty in a continuous creative unfoldment. So by not trying to demystify and possess beauty and grace, we go a long way into just allowing it to exist. So stopping the desire to grasp and possess, the experience of grace can become a source of inner nourishment, and that will deepen our aesthetic pleasure and joy. Greet beauty when it comes, reflect upon it, but don't demand or expect it. Contemplate it and allow it to infuse your life. You will be beautified by it, and an aesthetic sense will naturally arise in you. Beauty is fleeting and transitory, like in all things. So this is a moment to give of your best and let your model be Mother Nature. And the beauty of nature is love. So love each other. That's a great reading. I just want to say I use the Tao Oracle, and the artist is Mahadeva Padma. You're free to subscribe. This was the Leo Male Alchemy of Relating spread, so it's also valid for anybody who's in a relationship with Leo males. This month, there's a lot of wisdom in the cards. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you subscribe and share.